All right. Good Monday morning, you guys. I am back on land. 7 days is a long day, long time for a cruise, you guys. I did get motion sick coming back. So, fun times up in here. But before we dive into all of that, you guys, Texas is bipolar. It was freeze your
Oh,
ass off yesterday. It was like a high of
yes.
59. And today it's like 87. Okay. And that I get headache, like weather headaches. So, it's killing me. And Josh has the heat on in my office, so I'm dying. But anyways, you guys, hey, it's author talk. You guys listening to me, Amy, Russell, Valerie, and Mickey is joining us today because there are a lot of hot things going on in the writing community that I figured we would all chit chat about. But I am going to dive in first about weekends. So as you guys all know, I was doing 2 conferences in 1 week. One of them, I know, Rita.
She's listening to you. She's watching.
I love it. I was doing the publishing at sea with Judith Cruz. I was one of the talkers or speakers, however you want to label that this year. So I was on that at the same time I had the Women in Publishing Summit, which we have sponsored for years at the same time. So I was putting all of my eggs in the internet basket on the cruise ship that it was going to work. And I will say, when I had to do my presentation to the Women in Publishing Summit, we were at port, so nobody was on. And so that part was seamless. It was fantastic. It was great. My daughters had a lot of fun finding ducks. So we went on like a Royal Caribbean, which I had never been on that cruise ship. So they were having fun finding ducks and living their wild dream, water slides, all that hot mess. We did the merry-go-round more times than I can count. You guys, I mean, oh Lord. And they all wanted bread and I just wanted dessert. So dessert is what I just ate all the time. But it was fun. There were some cool things that I learned that AI is doing. One of the softwares in it, I'm going to go through the book here in a minute to tell you guys, but it's one that you can kind of give it like an idea and it'll write an entire blog post for you and create it. It's like a story creation or whatever. Russell, you may know because you're all up in the AI thing. You may know it better than I do, but it was kind of cool to learn about that. I hadn't known about it. It's not, I don't dabble in AI stuff a whole lot because I have a love-hate relationship with it within our industry. I think it's done more damage than good to an extent. But we learned about that. But the Women in Publishing Summit, you guys, this was the last year they were doing this big, huge hurrah, right? Because usually like 4 days long. This is massive. And so now they're going to restructure it and do things. But I met people all over the world. We had people on from Australia, and they had them on while they were doing their cyclone. I believe that's what it was called. It's the opposite way of what a hurricane goes. And they hadn't been hit with one of those in like 70 years. So they had gotten hit with one of those. And so she was on and talking and going through that whole experience. So it was just a fun week of getting to know and people watching on a cruise ship. If you've never been, you need to go. If you like people watching. If you have been, then you know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about people watching. Okay, because it's just a fun time, a fun time. I do have a story, Russell, that I want to tell you because Josh is home. But you guys all know I don't talk a lot of crap when Josh is home, but today I'm going to because he's not listening. It's fantastic. So we were in Honduras, which none one in my family has been. And we did the monkey and sloth tour. I had the most fun time. I got to hold a sloth, and monkeys were attacking us and trying to take Josh's shoes off and strangling me with their tails. It was just a fun experience. Okay, I don't know what being strangled was not a fun experience, but it's because my daughter was crying because they jumped on her head and she was freaking out, and they were freaking out, so they were hanging by my neck from the tail. It was just a whole thing. But we went snorkeling, and it was really wavy. I'd never been snorkeling. Okay, I'm not a strong swimmer. I'd never been snorkeling. And so we went snorkeling, and me and the girls are having this time riding the waves, checking it out, everything. And the man that I have known for over 11 years, I've never seen this man get sick, was so sick. He was trying to just make it back to the boat. And me and the girls were looking at him like, what the hell is your problem? Like, look at this fish. You don't see the stingray. And he was just so sick. So we didn't do anything. We didn't do anything after that because he was just out for the count. But that is the highlight of my trip because this man that I've known forever, I've never seen him like that. And I would be a terrible wife if I didn't laugh at him, and I laughed the entire time that he was sick. I feel like I'm a better wife because I did that and I had no
You. That's your problem.
I I
You
had no sympathy for him at all. But overall, it was a lot of fun. We learned about this AI thing. I'm gonna go through this book as you guys are talking about your weekend, so I can do it. I do have one coming up here on the 15th. Valerie, it's in Houston. It's the Empower Her Summit. I will be on a panel for that summit. And it's just a day summit. I will be on that panel. And then we do have a new book launch, you guys. I had a children's book come out on the 4th. We're going to do a big launch at the end of the month. So make sure that you stay tuned to our channel, all of my social media. So we do have a new children's book coming out by a brand new author that's going to be happening on top of, all this other thing called life and surviving a 7-day cruise with my children, which I did survive, but 7 days is a long time. It's a long time, you guys. But what all did you guys do this weekend? Have fun. Valerie, you're always off popping doing stuff. Russell, you're trying to survive your puppy. So which one of you guys want to go first?
Oh, okay. I'm
Valerie,
still
you've been told.
recovering. I had like a little mild case of bronchitis
Oh,
after
no.
after Mardi Gras and the rodeo and just all that.
Yeah,
So
good.
but I still managed to go see the new exhibit at the Houston Museum of Natural Science. And they have the birds of Audubon, which is pretty incredible. It's like stuff that has come from Scotland and never seen before, but it's just incredible to see that in person. So that was very cool. And then I'm also co-chairing a huge event at my church next week, the St. Joseph's Altar. So we spent like Saturday making tons and tons of fig cookies. And what else? And then there was a new Mexican restaurant opened up, and so I was like, yes, I will come to that because I'm not going to say no to brand new Mexican food.
Yeah. Why would you? Why would you?
So I cram a lot of things in there, sick or not. I just
whenever I go to Houston, that's the first place I go.
I like it.
Yeah. So enchiladas, queso. There was a really good appetizer we had. It was a giant jalapeno rellenos stuffed with chorizo and Oaxaca cheese and grilled
Nice.
chicken. So I was thinking of you, Russell. Like he would sure like these.
Nice.
So I'm so well rounded.
That was a great.
Just trying to survive. Trying to survive. And that's about it.
I like it.
Okay.
Yeah, my son came home from college, so we had a great time cooking together in the kitchen. It's good to, like you said, Amy, just do things with the kids and
survive.
Yeah.
Mickey, what did you do?
So my son/daughter, whatever is going on with them lately, stims because he has autism ADHD, and the way he stims is reads books. That's what he does.
Fun.
So there was a big library sale in Edmonton this weekend, and I surprised him and said, we're going to go to Edmonton for the day. And we went to the library there. It was like a candy store for him. It was crazy. I think we bought in total probably 30 books.
Wow.
25 of which are his today.
Okay, I'll take it back. That's a great story.
And we were able, thanks, Russell. And we were able to bond through all that. And then at the end of it, he's like, Dad, I'm so glad you're a publicist because I get to enjoy all the benefits of your career and just live this world.
Nice.
So thank you for doing this and stuff. So that was kind of teary for me. It was like, I was
that's
kind
your
of
month,
right?
That's your month. That's not a weekend. That's a month.
Yeah,
but,
that's wonderful.
But that's what essentially happened. So we spent the day together. We did some shopping. We went to West Edmonton Mall. We did some more looking around. But what blew me away, he's like, no, Dad, we're not buying me any clothes today because I want to get some books. I want to make sure I have enough money to get some books, which we ended up doing. So, so that's what my weekend was.
So awesome.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I don't even measure up to that, Mickey.
No, come on.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that story. All I did all weekend, everyone saw at the beginning of the show, my dog that gains half a pound a day. She's not even the dog that you saw the first time after I got her because she's so much bigger. So we experienced a private bar dog park for the first time. And I've never been
Oh,
a dog park guy because before this dog, I never had anything but squirrel looking dogs, little bitty.
right.
You don't take those things to a dog park. So
No.
this is a dog park that like you have to send in and apply because you got to show that your dog has all their vaccinations and eyes and everything else. And so we went there Thursday night, and there's this nice bar, 2-level bar, and you sit in there with all these other weirdo dog people like me this weekend, at least I was. And you have beer, your dogs are going wild. And we were there Thursday night. We were there Friday night for 3 hours. We were there Saturday for 2.5 hours with another couple. And I was there yesterday. That's all I did all weekend was dog park, drinking beer with all these other people that put way too much time and priority into their dog. And we had a great time. We had a great time. And that's it, except for, I have a lot. I do want to tell you a monkey story, though.
Oh, please do.
Okay. My wife has a monkey phobia.
Okay.
So we were going through, when we were traveling through India, we were in Delhi and we went to see the Golden Temple. It's the Sikh temple in Old Delhi. It's kind of a really, really big deal.
In India?
In India.
Okay.
And so when we went there, you don't wear shoes. You have to wear these scarves. I actually have a picture somewhere of it. And it was so nice because these people were so kind to us that they were so honored that we wanted to come see their temple. And we're talking about maybe 20,000 people were there, and it wasn't that crowded.
Right.
And everyone wanted their picture with us. It was very humbling and wonderful. But when we left, we had to walk to where we were being picked up. And the monkeys in northern India are not little monkeys. These monkeys are more than waist high.
Okay.
And as we're walking, they're following us on the wire. There's a whole tribe.
Fun.
And my wife starts freaking out. And I'm like, don't worry about it. We don't have any food. That's one of the rules in India. Carry around food, you're going to get attacked.
Right.
Don't have any food, we're going to be fine. Just don't run. And so as we got down to the end of the block, there's a big tree, and the monkeys came down the wire, down to the tree, and down to the trunk of the tree waiting on us.
Okay.
And as we walked by them, they could sense my wife's fear. I know it. They stepped toward her, and she took off running, and the whole tribe went after her.
Oh my God.
My God.
No.
Piece of crap that I am. I just started laughing.
Yeah, you're like
She was
me.
so mad. The rest of the trip, she was mad at me because I didn't defend her against the monkeys.
Oh
And it
man.
was so funny. And they
What would
never
you have done?
What?
What would you have done?
I'd have told her to quit running. Stop running.
That's funny.
That's all you have to do. Stop running. They're like, whoa, I don't smell any food, so never mind.
Because half the time
Right?
they're just messing with you. At least that's what the guy told us. Like it brings a whole definition, a new definition to monkeying around. Like you really understand what that means when you experience it. So were they like capuchin monkeys or was it like spider monkeys?
No, they weren't spider. They were big.
Okay.
Okay.
And when we went to Honduras and they advertised the monkey stop, I was like, let's go see them. And she was like, you can go to hell.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. So it was cool. We got to hold, or like they're in these cages, right? And you like your whole group goes in these cages. The only thing that's free out is the sloths. And so they come around, they put the sloths on you.
I gotta run away.
I know. Yeah. They're not going to do anything. But we also held, I have photos. I'll put it in the group. The macaws, right? Which is the same damn thing as a parrot. They're just a different
They're just
species.
cooler.
Yeah. It's just like, like a pit bull is still a dog. It's just the breed. A macaw
Yep.
is a parrot. It's
Very
just.
colorful birds.
Yeah. And so, and you guys don't know this, I have a fear of birds. Like, I don't know. I don't want to be pecked to death. I just can't. And this bird could sense it and it licked me and it scared the shit out of me when it licked me that I just was like, I can't handle it. I couldn't handle it. But the monkeys to me were just hilarious. Like I wasn't being picked on. I was being strangled. But Josh, they were trying to unvelcro his shoes and like they undid his pockets and like they had run off with some guy's money. Like it was a fun thing if you were an adult. Kids were terrified, but it was great to me.
Okay. We need to thank our listeners. We are top 1% of some of the podcast channels, and we're very humbled by it. We started this about 9 years ago, and we've gone through many phases. Most people listen to us while they're driving home or working out. That's why we're like 45 minutes is the average workout. And we want to thank people for listening to us. I couldn't find us when we first started. Amy changed things, and all of a sudden we're like at the top of where you look. So, Amy, I don't know what you did, but thank you so much. Where can people find us?
Yeah, so I just rebranded our colors and played with some of our keywords in our content that we put out. But you can find us, guys. The go-to places for me is Spotify. You can, if you want to see our videos, we're on YouTube, Amazon Music, iTunes if you're on Apple, Google Play if you're an Android user. Good Pods is another one. Amazon Music is my go-to, and Spotify for sure. But those are just the ones I listen to. But anywhere that you can find a podcast and type in Author Talk and you look for the crimson, red, and gold, because who doesn't love those colors? If you don't tell me. Okay, we're still going to be friends. I just don't want to know that because they're my favorite colors. And then you can listen to every show that we've ever done. If you like to watch us, because me and Valerie are very animated. My facial expressions, I'm terrible at controlling, but I do control what comes out of my mouth. So if you want to hang out with us, engage with us, come over to any one of our social media channels. Our Facebook group is over there. Our YouTube channel has every show we've ever done on it. So if you want to see where we started and to where we are today, you can go on over to those. We like engaging and interacting with you guys. If you want to be on the show, make sure that you reach out to us. If you do in an email, I am slower at that. So direct message me on social media platforms. That's a lot easier for me. If you have emailed me, I see it and I am getting there. I promise. So it's all going to happen. If you hear my kids in the background, I do have a sick kid and my other kid is making fun of my sick kid. So if they're yelling, that's what's happening.
I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
What did you talk about when you were on the cruise? What was your topic?
Oh, it's the fun topic of blending PR and marketing and why one feeds the other and you're not successful only doing one. You need to do both. And then the other subject that we talked about was book launches and how to set those up for success and how to run book promotions after doing book launches, what all that looks like and why it's important. We talked about reviews. So you guys, okay, so Russell, you're going to love this. I dabble in critically thinking what it is 100% that authors are always going to need, right? Because price points, budgets, all these things, they all weigh on you when you're self-publishing. And so I am focused on creating, and I've already started doing it, like a review team in which will help you, because Amazon is one that you have to have 50 to 60 reviews, right? It's very critical. It's very important to have those. And they're not easy to get. It's difficult to get just from readers asking for reviews. They are difficult to get. And so we're focusing on building that up with a blog tour segment of it. Just in terms of promotions and those kinds of things that help you in marketing, but it's not fully extensive in terms of financial commitment and those kinds of things in marketing, because it can be expensive. It's expensive to publish a book. It's expensive to maintain that book visibility, right? So looking at different avenues of that. So we talked about why reviews are important, how you can go about getting them, how you should never pay for a review because then it could bring down your page, their page. This whole tower is going to come down, right? So we talked about those things and kind of leveraging them and why having a book cover and what that looks like, why it's important, those kinds of things. And if you want to play with AI, how you can play with AI to kind of jumpstart content in terms of blog creations and stuff if you don't have the time to create blogs. Like, I'm terrible at maintaining my blog. I'm terrible at it. But so it was more kind of like those things. And then I had kept my kids alive. So yeah, those kind of things.
And Josh too.
Oh yeah, Josh was like Mr. Mom. He was over in the craft section, like crafting with the kids in the kids area, doing experiments with them, like taking them to the pool, doing all that, and I'm, hanging out inside and everything. But it was fun. I think it was a fun learning. I'd never been on Royal Caribbean. I've only been on Carnival cruise ships, and so they all have their pros and cons. It was a different experience than 5 years ago when I did go on one, 5 or 6 years ago, I guess. And when I did go on one, it was very different. At the ports, it was different. Security was different. Just the experience in and of itself. I think my next cruise I'd like to do would be a Disney cruise. I want to go to the damn Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, you guys. And I know that I should do it for my kids, but I want to do it for my damn self. Okay, I do.
I cannot think of anything worse than a Disney cruise. Maybe going to Disney World might be worse. When I took my kids, I called it Disney Hell.
Well, did you go at the holiday time?
No, I went during the summer when it's really stupid.
Well, yeah. See, I want to go on the holiday times. You know what I did see? And I don't know why, but I felt special that I saw this. So one, I didn't know that there were so many different cruise lines. Because, I always hear about Royal Caribbean, Carnival, and of course, Virgin Mobile, right? We hear about their cruise lines. I saw that ship, you guys, and it is a really sleek looking ship. But I saw it. I was like, oh my gosh, it really does exist. Like, you just see these ads. You don't know that these things really exist. But then I learned a new one, which was like MSC. I still don't know what they do. But I did see a princess one. What is it?
They're European. They were a giant Greek freight line that owns, 1,000 ships. And they, a few decades ago, decided to get into the cruise business because the other cruise lines were making money. And they've spent billions of dollars to get their ships competitive.
Oh, see, that was one that I guess, and I saw a lot of those in Rotan. I didn't see a lot of them in like Costa Maya and things, but I will say I didn't realize that. And again, I'm very naive when it comes to these things because I'm not a traveler. We've all established this. I'm not a traveler. I didn't know that they came, from like the, Europe and all that. They came all the way down to like Rotan and to Mexico and stuff. I just figured they went around, the islands they had over there. I'm sure they're cooler than, ours. So I didn't realize that. So, I mean, I always was learning something, which was fun, so it was a fun time. I learned a lot of things. I experienced a lot of things. Monkeys was one of them, but yeah.
Can we congratulate Nikki and Valerie? Nikki and Valerie both have an anniversary here.
Ooh.
Who wants to go first?
Ladies first always.
Valerie, tell us.
It's the 10th anniversary of my first book, the Listen in the Rainforest book, and I can't believe it's been 10 years. When I tell people like that when I'm laying them out and I'm showing them the things, I'm like, and they're like, really? That's I was like, yeah, I can't believe it myself that all of this has evolved, to become what it is, and it's pretty amazing. It's a great feeling, and just to see how my writing and publishing evolved over the years too. So it's exciting. How about you, Mickey? Congratulations to you.
Oh, thank you, and congrats to you as well, Valerie. My company is 10 years this month, actually. So I've been doing book marketing for 10 years. We started in March of 2015. with one self-published author that I was friends and worked with in the corporate world. And it blew up, and oh, thanks, Amy. Yeah, so that's Miranda O. That's her first book. This is actually at the Owl's Nest in Calgary. It was the first bookstore we ever did a book event at, and that was in March of 2015.
Okay, do you know what's most disturbing about this picture?
I'm afraid to ask you, Russell, but go ahead.
Very disturbing. I don't think you've aged like 6 months.
I know.
It's really disturbing to me.
Oh, I've definitely aged. You know, the camera hides a lot of stuff. But yeah, this is that was 10 years ago. So since then, lots of learnings, lots of challenges, positive, some negative, but all in all, we're still here, and it's been wonderful. And big thank you to all my media affiliates. Big thank you to past clients, potential clients, and current clients, and thank you to you guys as well.
The average company lasts 6 months. You've lasted 10 years. The reason you lasted 10 years, and I know this personally, is because you do such an unbelievable job. You have connections all over the world, and you should be very proud of yourself.
Well, thank you, Russell. I think Amy had a big part to play in that, because I think we have a 3-year anniversary working together, actually.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So, yeah.
That sounds
It is
about
3
right.
years, Amy. It's been 3
Is
years.
it? Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm lucky that I still know my birth date, you guys, and that I remember my kids, to be honest. But
Well,
yeah,
I
look
think
at
the
y'all.
main thing is we just all apparently love what we do, and we just keep vibing on it, you know.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, Amy, what's this AI thing that you want to tell us about now?
Yeah. Okay. So I found it, at least what the name of the talk was. So hold on. Let me pull it up. Okay. So it is like content creation stories is the name of it. And I'm going to pull it up here in a minute. But correlation stories for sale. Right. And so it was the site. And what you do is one of the stories on there was like, oh, I was running late for the cruise ship and I was hauling it and hitting every red light. And that's all that was put in there. And then it created this whole blog post. And then you would mention your books and it would tie it back into a pitch for your book. And it was a whole blog post kind of about it. And it was all AI created. And you didn't have to, you just had to give it a brief outline of what you wanted the story to be about, which I find fascinating because it can be hard. I mean, I'm not a writer, but I know in terms of helping you guys create content for social media, it can be hard in wording and verbiage and swinging that back around to tie into your books and stuff. So a site like that is very helpful. And so I'm going to pull it up as we get talking because, Russell, I want to know more about what all is going on in India that you shared. And while we talk about that, I'm going to pull up this site and then I'll share it because I want to make sure I have the right site. But that's what this site did. And it was all AI generated, but it was a clever way of repositioning and repitching your book in a story without coming off as salesy, which I thought was one of the better AI things out there, to be honest.
Okay. Well, let's talk about India.
Yeah.
The thing about India that Americans don't really appreciate. Americans, when they think of India, they either think of call rooms, right? Or they think of poverty. And India has a lot of that, but that's because they have 1.5 billion people. But what Americans don't really think of when they think of India, but which is true, is they have a huge middle class. Okay? They have a huge middle upper class. Mm-hmm. In fact, there are more middle class and middle upper class families in India than there are people in America. It's that huge. And you don't appreciate that. That means that there's all sorts of cultural things happening in India. And India is both a beautiful combination of itself and its the time under its British rule. And a lot of Indians, they don't like to hear that. But when you're there, you see remnants of British culture in every part of the day. It's just a thing. And there's a huge literate community in India, huge. And among the young people, and we're talking about the under 30, under 25, we're talking about very young people. There is a huge community now that the newest cool thing, and you can go to our author page on Facebook where I both uh, put both the article and some wording in a couple of posts about the article. Uh, the new cool thing is they have these book fests. They're not author conventions like we've been talking about here, but these are for the readers to meet authors. And it's a huge thing there. It's a huge thing that young people go to, which is kind of contrary to everything that both I've been thinking and I'm reading about America, about Americans don't read very much. It's like the new youth contrarian thing, and it's happening in India, and where the young people are readers. They want to meet the authors. You have like there's this story of this independent poet that posted a poem, and then he posted a book independently, and he went to one of these book fasts that the young people kind of coalesced around him, and they started sharing it, and it blew up. And all of a sudden he got a publisher. They sold 300 copies of a book of poetry.
Oh.
And uh, he's now like one of the in things with that all the young people want to meet at all these book festivities. And it's become like one of the important things, way bigger than it's like going to concerts for the young people, and it's like going to the concerts for these authors, and they're meeting their readers. The readers are getting to meet their authors. It's a big deal, and it was such a big deal that it made the New York Times on the Sunday issue, and I found it very exciting. And these independent these independent authors are now finding a whole new avenue. And we've talked about new avenues recently. This is another whole new avenue that's happening in India. I hope it happens here.
Well, if it happened here, how do you like envision that? What would that look like here?
Well, I see signs of it. Remember a few weeks ago, I talked about going to at my son's birthday party with his friends. They're all 35 and younger. They were all readers, and they were talking about the different websites they went to that you actually have read at some of them. And they were real excited about that, and they were talking about their authors that they followed. And these were also independent authors that were publishing. So it actually isn't, America is actually behind India on this. I hope we're behind but following. But in India, it's like concerts that these people go to. It's a big deal. It's like, it's not the one concert, but it's like it's all the young people, they get excited, they dress up, they go to these festive, these parties, they meet all these authors. They actually, I didn't get from it that there was a lot of lectures. There's some panels, but it's mainly interactions between authors and their followers, and word of mouth. And
okay.
So I imagine concert like times, like Greek Fest in Houston, all over America. They have Greek Fest where for 3 days, you go, you eat, you listen to music. I would imagine it would be like a Greek Fest, but it would be a book fest, and that's what I imagine these are like.
So, okay.
The stars aren't musicians; the stars are the authors.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the romance community is doing that. So there's a book lovers con that takes place in Houston, and that's what it is. It's all romance based authors, and the authors are the draw into it. So you have a bunch of different vendors that are authors, but I mean, I wouldn't say that you have like events like a festival does. You know how a festival has like different food vendors, and then you have music, and you have all these things. I think it's more structured here as like one of the conventions or Comic-Con styles, which is you have breakout panels and those kinds of things. But yeah, I mean, those are happening here that are genre specific for sure.
I would think if you would want this younger crowd to go crazy about it, you would have to jazz it up a little bit from that. I've been to some of those cons. I'm talking about you have music there too. You have lots of food vendors,
Yeah.
much party atmosphere. That's what's happening in India. It's a happening.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's fun.
So,
Yeah.
so the challenge is, at least from what I've seen in North America with book conferences, is book conferences tend to attract a lot of publishers and a lot of vendors and a lot of actual writers. So what's happening, it's very similar to what TikTok does with Book Talk, where you're basically attracting the same circle of people all the time and not branching out from that. And the conferences, at least in North America, from what I've seen, are doing the exact same thing. There's lots of book conferences that are completely sold out every single year.
Yeah.
The issue is that's the same people buying the tickets. So you get the same authors in the same conference, the same publishers, the same media outlets going to these things. And the unfortunate part of that is none of those individuals are actual fans or readers of the conference. It's all industry laden. So what I'm hearing from you, Russell, and I agree with you because I've researched this as well, especially South Africa does it and India does it as well. They tend to cater their events more to attracting readerships, which ultimately will sell more books overall. And I think we're behind from that aspect.
Well, but you do have some that do that. So wait a minute. So you do have Comic-Cons that do that. So anime. No, but Comic-Cons feed for readership because anime, right, which will have people dressed up. You'll know them as furries and all
But that's a different crowd.
No, because they read anime. They read anime, they read graphic novels, they watch it, and those are the three things that bring people in because readership turns into something turning into a cartoon, a movie, or whatever, which turns into viewership, right? So one feeds the other. So Comic-Cons do this. Now, there's not one that's like strict just fantasy Comic-Con. No, they have to bring in bigger names to bring people in. And then you have those fans of that character that will come and read books similar in that genre of field, science fiction, fantasy, dystopian, those kinds of things. I think it just looks different. It's not readership focused, but it brings in readers to that event that are a fan of that genre that the event is in. I think it's just
even when we were even at Comic Palooza here, there was a whole section of just authors, for different genres. And that the day I was there to get my autograph from Stephen Graham Jones, there was people with entire collections from, I think it was one of the Star Wars authors, but they had like 12 books in their hands.
It's called the literary. It's the literary track. Every Comic-Con or convention has a literary track. Yeah. So it's there.
Those people. So you had people, the fans of the illustrators, the fans of the authors, of all the different genres. It was fascinating to just meet all these people that they're there. It's just.
I think the Comic-Cons are totally on board with that. What I'm saying, and this is probably a negative comment, and then we'll maybe look down upon.
Negative comment.
I don't think that book conventions specifically, and I'm not going to name certain ones, just single them out.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they're geared towards attracting readers to go to their events. I think it's geared towards publishers and writers.
Right.
That's my opinion.
And there's another problem with it too. It's different than what you're talking about with the anime. I used to live next door to where they had
anime. The George R. Brown.
The thing that you say that you can point out about the anime conferences is it's all young people. Young people.
Yeah. Comic-Cons are young people too.
That we have in North America, unlike India.
Yeah.
and this is very controversial, but since I'm 67, I can say this. It's all old people. Okay? Hey, if you want to attract young people, you've got to do something else, just like Mickey said. And if you want to have what they have in India for authors, then you have to completely tear up the page and you have to start all over on the way you're going to do it.
Yeah. I mean, we could do, like, there's no cosplay at the actual book events, from my understanding. You don't see people dressing up as Harry Potter or, I don't know, Dr. Jekyll.
You're going to the wrong events, man. I see that all the time.
That's Mickey's point.
Yeah, I see those things all the time.
But how many of them do that, Amy? Like, I don't think there are that many. I'll be honest.
How many?
I know multiple.
So, you guys, I lump book cons and Comic Cons in the same realm because Comic Cons have a literary track. You will have book conventions; those aren't aimed towards readers. So I don't call those book events. That's to educate, but those are educational ones. The romance one that happens in Houston is geared towards romance readers. So they bring in the big authors that have it, and you have other romance vendors, and you'll have romance food. You'll have other romance things, like just other elements in a romantic environment that maybe isn't book related that'll bring people in, right? But that is the one event I can say 100% because I know the creators of it is reader centric. It's the only book event that I know. All the other ones are for educational purposes in terms of writing, bettering, all those things. Those are writer conferences. They're not book events. I morph book events into Comic Cons because that is where readers go, because that's their community. Is if I'm going to a Comic Con that has the Star Trek, Star Wars, and I don't know, some other big sci-fi, the cast of Dune is there. And that's the kind of books that I read. I'm going to go to that event because everybody else is going to go because they also read or love that genre. So it's an outward way of bringing in readers because that book turned into a movie, right? So it had to have a reader base first. So I think Comic Cons are our version of what they're doing over in India and South Africa. I don't think we have strictly just book events. I think we have writer enrichment conferences, but I don't think we have book centered events. I think they're lumped into Comic Cons because Comic Cons have a literary track. They bring in more readers to events than any other event, even than book signings. So I would lump them there.
I think what Russell is getting at is that the authors are like the stars, almost like they're just like. And is it in the marketing or is it in the design of the event? How do you think that's happening, Mickey?
So here's the point to that, and I'll answer your question in a second, Valerie. But how many books get made into movies or TV series? Does it happen?
Yeah,
it happens all the time. Okay, so to my point though, it happens all the time, right?
Yeah.
When was the last time you saw actors or actresses from a made or upcoming TV film or a film at a book convention? Not at Comic-Con, because I know that they do that. Yes. A book convention where those actors and actresses and directors are building up the TV series or the film of that specific book.
Yeah, but they highlight the book. That's called a press tour. That's called a press tour.
Now, San Diego Comic-Con, they just had Robert Downey Jr. there last year because of fantastic 4 films coming out, right? He had dressed up as Dr. Doom and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I have yet to see a book convention do something like that in North America.
Yeah, because we don't have book events here. We have reader or writer enrichment conferences, and we have Comic-Cons. Comic-Cons bridge that gap, right? I will die on this hill. You guys, out of everybody on this damn call, I'm the one that's been to the most Comic-Cons. So I'm going to die on this hill. And I know this hill, so I will die on this hill.
Are coming. I'm telling you, entrepreneurs in America are going to see the money that's being made hosting these weekend parties that people like my son and all his crowd get excited and go.
I'll show you one.
They have some truck
I'll show you one. The only one that I know. This is it right here. The book lovers. It is a book convention.
Yeah.
The reader experience. This is the only one in North America that I know of. And this is
they're all old people. I'm talking about something for young people.
These aren't old people. These are people that read romance. But they do happen, you guys. Like, they do happen. This is like legit. It happens all over the world. But like, this is the only one that
cater to readers. That's how you're going to grow your business overall.
Yeah, and that's what this one is. It says Book Lovers Con, the ultimate reader experience.
Right. But
it's in Vegas.
How many conferences are in North America overall? Tons, right? You pointed out one that does it. You've shown me one that does it.
It's the only one that I know that is strictly book convention.
Out of hundreds. So to Russell's point, India's way. This is getting heated, guys. But I'm just saying.
Oh my God.
Great
this is why India, like places like India, are moving forward because they're developing events that cater to the fan base of those products.
Right.
That's the key difference.
And the audience.
What's the difference? 100%. What is the difference between a book convention and a book fair? What's the difference?
It's a book fest. It's a party.
But what is the difference? It's the same thing. It's still an avenue.
A fair is shopping for books. A book fair is shopping for books.
How many special guests do you see advertised at a book fair compared to a book convention?
Well, Miami Book Fair, Book Festival has tons of authors, and it's an entire festival fair.
Miami Book Festival.
I mean, it's book fair.
The wording. It's the wording.
Miami
I don't know. Okay. Anyways, you guys, I wanted to show you this because me and Russell have been talking about these web novels, right? And so I told you I'm gonna die on this Comic-Con hill, you guys.
She's gonna kill me later, guys. It's nice knowing all of you.
Anyways, I wanted to show you guys this one. So if you go to webnovel.com, right, this feeds into what Russell's been talking about. I've been talking about. So this one specifically is just action adventure. So you can read anime series that's similar to Game of Thrones, Pokemon, however you want to do it, right? And it tells you which ones are ranking new, which one, what their genre is, their point, system, their rating system. And you click on it. You can add it to library, but you can start reading it. And you can read the synopsis. It tells you what else going in it. These are like the triggers or, the keywords for it, who wrote it, what their ranking is, all these things, feedback from it. So these are web-based novels you can read on the computer or on your phone, right? I just clicked on a random one, but like you can look here, right? Novels, you've got urban, Eastern, games, fantasy, comics, you've got fanfic. You can pick from any of these, right? And kind of feed into whatever, like horror. We can do horror, right? And they have all of these. It'll tell you 306 chapters. Remember, that's scenes, not chapters. Okay. So keep that in mind. 855 scenes. Holy crap. But anyways, so this is what a web-based novel looks like. So you guys can see. I'll put the link in our group for everybody to see. But Russell had been talking about this, and the book convention was getting heated. And I like to switch topics. So anyways.
I loved it.
No, it was a fun debate, but I will die on my Comic-Con hill. So yeah, but there is book conventions out there. There is out there here in North America. They just travel all over the world, but there are book conventions out there. But there are way more writing enrichment conferences, I will say, than book conventions. Yes, but I tie them into Comic-Cons because Comic-Cons are more fun. So
it was nice knowing all of you. Amy's going to kill me later. Just know that.
No, whatever. No, but we all overtime. Russell is. I'm lucky. Russell hasn't given me the look of death.
Well, I've been waiting for you to concede, but I guess we might as well close.
That's not going to happen at all. But oh my gosh, you guys, it's good to be back on land. I can't believe we are already into March, you guys. The second week of March. Holy cow! But for that, we hope everybody has a fantastic week. If it's spring break, we hope you survive your children because I'm trying to survive my children. But have a fun spring break. If your spring break is next week, power to you 100%. But have a great Monday, a great rest of your week. And until next Monday, everybody, bye for now.